Are you stuck in your head about how much to share on social? Are you still worried that you're giving the farm away? Or perhaps you feel like you're falling short when it comes to providing value. Today's topic: how to communicate your value proposition on social media. Welcome to the Influencers Journey Show. My name is Taria Hodge, and the big question we set out to answer each week is: how does the average entrepreneur like us, who started with little time, zero or little marketing budget, or little to no online presence, get the authentic message into the marketplace and become a person of influence? And also, what skills must you learn? And most importantly, who are you required to become to magnetically attract your divine client and build your loyal following? Welcome, 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 super achievers. Um, I'm so excited for today's topic because I get this question all the time. Why or how much content should I be sharing on social media? So how many of you out there have ever stopped, ask yourself that question, or have allowed that question to stop you from showing up the way that you are intended to show up on social media? So I know a lot of times, people wonder or they worry about giving away too much on social media. And I'm just going to share, this one was a huge one for me as well. So I remember when I first started my very first show, which was Social Media Saturdays, I would show up every Saturday morning, and my commitment was to give tips, tools, resources, and strategies on how to implement social media in your business. And as I continued to do the show for many years, a lot of people ask me, Taria, why do you do that? Why do you show up every Saturday? And why do you share so much content? And the big question became, aren't you worried that if you share so much that people won't invest in your products and services? And so how many of you have ever had that question, or have ever had that thought that if you share too much on social media, you feel like you're giving away the farm, and then there is no need for people to actually invest and work with you? So if you've ever felt that, you've ever had this question, I want to say, this show today is definitely for you. So we're going to cover some things. And so I'm just going to go ahead and answer the question. Like, for me, my personal belief is that you are supposed, that every opportunity that you get, share value. So social media is definitely one of the places that you should be sharing your best content, and you should share content that allows you to show up and serve your audience. So a couple things, or a few things, that we're going to talk about today on today's show. We're going to break down why you need to communicate your brand value on social media. So what is that all about? We're going to have a beautiful discussion around that today. We're also going to talk about why promoting your products and services is not enough on social media. So I know that we've all been, taught and told that social media, it's a wonderful marketplace, a place for us to be positioning our products and services, but I'm going to discuss why that is not enough. And then also, we're going to unpack why the way you feel about your value influence how others feel and interact with you on social. So welcome, 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 super achievers. If you are out there this morning, go ahead, do me a favor, drop a comment in the comment section and let me know, Taria, I am out here. I could see you, I could hear you. Like I said, I'm super excited for today's Influencers Journey Show. And so as you join the broadcast, in the comment section, just drop me a line and let me know where you are watching from. Drop your city, drop your state, drop your country if you're north or south of the border. I would definitely like to know where you are hailing from. And then also take a minute to let us know who you serve in your business. Now, this is a big one. We ask every show for all of our super achievers who are joining us to take a minute and let us know who you serve in your business. Now, why is this important? This is important because one of the things that I know happens in our time together is virtual networking. So I love it when I see our super achievers connecting with each other on the live broadcast. And then I also love to see the interaction and the networking that happens during the week when we are not on the show in our Super Achievers community. So take a minute, let us know who you serve in your business, because one of the things is if you don't tell us who you serve, then we won't know who you serve, and then we won't possibly know who we can connect you with. Okay, so who you serve in your business and how do you serve in your business? And like I said, today's topic is we're going to talk about how to communicate your value proposition on social media. So if you know of another super achiever who will be able to be blessed by this conversation, take a minute and share the broadcast out. So just look below the video, hit the share button, and invite another super achiever to today's conversation. Now, before we get the ball rolling, one of the things that I wanted to say is thank you for to all of the super achievers who took the time to book time with me for over the past couple of weeks. So one of the things that I've been doing is having a beautiful conversation in getting your social media strategy, getting your plans together, setting your goals on social, and just getting ready for 2023. And so, one of the things that I offer to do is to have a 30-minute discovery call for those of you who have questions around what it takes to develop your social media strategy, as well as your content plan for 2023 if you have not done that as yet. And so, if you would still like to have a conversation with me, I'm going to go ahead and put the link where you can go ahead and book your time. Okay. So it's going across the screen. So if you would like to have a 30-minute complimentary discovery session, you could go to bit.ly/SMS discovery and reserve your time on my calendar. And like I said, this is an opportunity for those of you out there who want to know more of what it takes to develop your content plan, your social media goals, your strategy, and your plan for 2023. So go ahead and take advantage of that. Okay, so we are getting ready to jump in to our show this morning. So, for those of you who are just joining us, welcome back to the Influencers Journey Show. Today's topic is how to communicate your value proposition on social media. So, the first thing that I want to take a minute to talk about is why you need to communicate your brand values on social media. So here's the thing. How many of you feel that you are the best at what you do? And so if you feel that you are the best at what you do, go ahead, drop a comment into the comment section and let me know. So if you believe that you are the best at what you do, but you are having trouble communicating it, or if you don't communicate it to others, then the question becomes, what good is it? Okay, and so that's one of the things why I love what I love about social media is that social media gives us the opportunity to once again give people the insight to what we do in our business, how we serve in our business. And so definitely you should be using your social platforms to communicate your value. Now, one of the things when it comes to communicating your brand value on social and then many other different platforms. I just want to say that, but I'm specifically talking about social media. One of the things that becomes so important is that we know what we do, or we know what we would like to do, the value that we would like to put out into the marketplace. But how many of you have ever stopped to consider or see things from your client's perspective? Okay, so do you have the ability to take a look at your clients and see their struggles, see their challenges, also see their desires and the transformation that they want to have in their life and in their business? And when it comes to social media, this is one of the places that you should be able to communicate that. So you should be able to say, hey, you know what? I know that these are the people who I'm called to serve. I've done the work. in understanding and defining who my divine clients are. So I talk about that all the time. So, do you really know who your audience is, who you're called to serve? So, if you have not done that, you need to take some time and know that, because one of the things that will allow you to do is to shape your conversations and get better at providing value into the marketplace, because you know definitely who you are called to serve. Okay, so are you able to see things from their perspective? And being able to see things from your client perspectives is one of the biggest way in creating your content. So as you put your conversations out there, are your clients or your potential clients, your audience, are they able, to see themselves in your content? Are they able to see you as that person, as that influencer who'll be able to take them on their journey? And so, like I said before, this is one of the things, or one of the best ways that keeps you focused in being able to create content that resonates with your audience. And one of the things that you also want to do is to make sure that you are helping them manage, all of the fear and the uncertainty of what they're going through. So now a perfect example of this, and I have to talk about this all the time, and this is part of my story. So one of the things that I had to get really present to in my business is technology. So I started off getting excited about social media, because very early on I realized that social media was a very, very powerful tool. And the reason why I started to take a look at social media was because I realized, as a small business owner, a new entrepreneur just getting into the marketplace, social media afforded me the same opportunities that larger companies had to market their business. And I want everyone to get that. So with social media, you have the ability to position your business just like every other, company out there, bigger company. The same tools, everything are available to you. Same platforms are available to you. But one of the challenges that I know most entrepreneurs face, or I shouldn't say most, I should say a lot of entrepreneurs face, is technology. So, how many of you out there, are or feel like you are challenged with technology? Now, I had to understand part of my value in being a social media strategist wasn't just being able to say these are the tools that you need to have, or these are the resources, the gadgets and the gadgets, because there are so many things that you could use to implement your strategy on social media. But technology was a huge challenge for me. And I share this all the time. I was that person when I was at corporate America. My managers didn't think that I would do as well as my other counterparts because I was challenged with technology. And so I made a commitment to myself to get better at learning technology, especially when I stepped into the realm as an entrepreneur. So I started to take the time to learn all of these different things, like how does the internet like really work, right? And so part of the value that I was able to bring to my clients was an intangible value. And the intangible value was patience. Okay. So I understood, because I understood what it meant to struggle with technology, I had the patience to show clients what it really took to implement some of the software, some of the tools, the gadgets, and the gadgets. And even when it comes to showing up on video, I talk about this all the time. One of the things that I saw in the marketplace was, especially when video came out, everyone, said, hey, you need to do more or produce more video content. So yes, you should definitely be doing webinars in your business. You should be doing videos. You should be doing lives. And there was a lot of content out there in the marketplace that showed people or talked about, all of the physical things that they needed to do, the technical things that they needed to do. But what I found was no one really really addressed the psychological part of it, the headspace, the emotional part that people got into when it comes to doing videos and the things that prevented them from showing up. And so I quickly realized that that was a value add onto my services. How can I provide that extra step in value that would separate me from the other people that do similar or provide similar services? Okay. So one of those things as that I learned is adding value and being able to communicate that value as I work through those challenges for myself. Those were things that I was able to now share with my clients and say, hey, I get it. And because I get it, I got you. I'm able to support you. So those are, just some of the things that I want to challenge you as you take a look at showing up and sharing your value on social media. Not only what are the tangible things that you can do, like your products and your services, but what are some of the intangibles that you bring to the table? And then don't be afraid to communicate those intangibles when it comes to your social media, because once again, it's all about having those connecting conversations. And I said it on our last episode. How are you connecting with the heart and soul of your clients? Are you really able to truly understand them, not just the pain points? I know we talk about the pain points all the time, but do you really understand their emotional branding? Are you able to mirror their languaging? Are you able to really and truly see past some of the things that they tell you? Because people will tell you one thing, right? And then when we dig a little bit deeper, the thing that they tell us that's the problem isn't oftentimes the problem. It is something deeper. So take a look, spend some time and really, really, really take a look at the value that you can bring, to your audience on social. So the second thing that I want to take a minute to talk about is why promoting your products and your services is not enough on social media. And so once again, when I started out in on social media, wow, I can't believe it's probably almost 13 years already. When I started on this journey, one of the things that I learned very quickly is that social media was a great opportunity for me to position my business, my company, to others, to show up in the marketplace. And because of the sheer number of people on social, it was very easy back then to promote products and services. Okay, because it's almost like, oh, people are on there, you put something out there, and you play the numbers game. Okay, but as more and more people entered into the marketplace, then that thought pattern shifted. Okay. And so, what people are now asking themselves, they're asking themselves the big question is, who am I really doing business with? Okay. And that's the big question. People want to know the people behind the brand, they want to know who's actually out there. And so, one of the things when it comes to communicating your value on social media, are you stopping to take a moment to develop the personality of your brand? So, have you identified your brand personality? Now, this is a huge one, and I say this all the time. And this goes right into the vein of, identifying who you are called to serve. So, do you know how your audience likes to be communicated, how they like to be communicated with, right? And so, do you have a personality of your brand? So, is your brand personality in your face brand personality? And as I talk about this, one of the people that comes to mind, one of the influencers that come to mind is Gary Vaynerchuk, right? And so, I love Gary Vaynerchuk. Okay, and I think that Gary does an excellent job of putting great information out there into the marketplace. But for those of you who have ever experienced Gary Vaynerchuk, he's a little bit in your face, right? And so if you've ever watched him, you might get a couple of F bombs in there, a couple of curse words, and he's, he sometimes he could come off as very abrasive. He's straight up in your face, okay? And here's a cool thing about it. I'm not here to say that is right, and I'm not here to say that is wrong. What I'm here to say is that that definitely is his personality and it is the style. It is his style and it has carried over into his brand. So his brand has a personality. So as you take a look at, putting your services or putting your business out there on social, what is the personality that you're going to develop for your brand? So are you going to be a fun loving, engaging personality? Or are you going to be more so on the softer side? Or are you going to be like that in your face type brand? What is the personality of your brand? And then also, when it comes to taking a look at how we show up on social media, one of the things that I always say this all the time is before you get into promoting your products and services, and this is why I'm talking about why it's not enough, you also want to make sure that you have the ability to engage with your audience. And so I see this, a lot of times on social media, people only show up on social when they have that product, that service, that program, that event that they're doing, to promote. And so are you that type of entrepreneur that shows up only when you have stuff to promote? Okay. Or are you putting yourself in the position to be able to have conversations with your audience? Are you creating the space to engage with them on a regular and consistent basis? Okay. So even having conversations like these, similar to what I'm doing, right? So we do the show. And this is one of the ways that we know that we have the opportunity, not just to provide value to our super achievers, but this gives us the opportunity to learn from our super achievers as well. So we get a chance to engage directly with our community, people inside the community, outside of the community. We get a chance to have people ask us questions, and that gives us the more insight as to who our audience is and who our tribe members are. And so one of the things that I want to say is, if you are just focusing on your promotions, your products and services, it's one of the quickest way, to kill your brand. And I want to really take a minute to go into this just a little bit deeper, because one of the things that I realize is that everything has cycles. Okay. And so definitely your social media should have cycles, or your content should have cycles. And so even though social media is a great place for you to show up and promote your products and services, how are you laying that up in your content? So that's what we're spending some time on this month. We're talking about developing your content plan. And so, one of the things that I would love to just take a minute and go into is that there is a social selling cycle. I like to call it the social selling success cycle. So, if you want to have maximum success in your brand and showing up as a value add to your audience and being able to attract your divine clients, then you need to really understand that there is a cycle for your social. So the first thing that we want to talk about is social listening. Okay, so do you have times in your content cycle that you are doing social listening? And so, what do I mean by social listening? Let me go ahead and define that for you. So, social listening is where you give yourself the opportunity to actually learn more about your audience, learn more about your tribe. And the way that you learn more about your audience and you learn more about your tribe is that you could do things like this. You could decide that you are going to position yourself in the marketplace on a consistent basis where you deliver value. And as you deliver value, one of the things that you are doing is that you are actually checking and taking note to see if the things that you're putting out into the marketplace, the content that you're putting out into the marketplace, is the content that your audience truly wants. And I'm going to say this, our audience always tells us the direction that we need to take our business in. How many of you have realized that, right? Your audience members will tell you what they need. The problem a lot of times is we don't take the time to really listen. So social listening, is a practice. And not only should you be doing this for your own brand, but as you continue to show up as a resource on social, meaning, are there other places and spaces that you engage with on social? What are people saying in other communities, and how are you showing up as a resource in other communities? And how can you take the data that you have collected from other places on social media and infuse that into your brand? So social listening is definitely the first step. So you should be planning cycles where you're spending time just to do that. And I'm just going to give you a hint. If you have a program that you're offering into the marketplace, especially if your program is a new program, before you launch it, you definitely want to have some conversation in the marketplace and get feedback from your audience to see if this is the type of content that they want to receive. Okay, so social listening. The next thing, the next step in the social success selling cycle, as I like to call it, is social networking. Okay, so once again, how are you building your relationships online? Now, this one is a huge one because one of the things that I love about social media is that it is networking on steroids. And so, if you haven't looked at your social media as an opportunity for you to build your network, then I'm going to tell you 2023 is the opportunity for you to start to do that. Okay. So, how are you putting yourself in position of networking? So, once again, it's not just about us positioning our brand, but are we actively out there seeking, people that we could collaborate with? And I'm just going to go ahead and share. Yesterday, I had an amazing conversation with one of our super achievers. And I'm going to tell you, this is why it's so important for you to actually give yourself the opportunity to do more things like this online. And so, one of the things, like I mentioned, that I've been doing is, inviting people to have a conversation around what it takes to develop their content for 2023. And so I had an amazing conversation yesterday with one of our super achievers. I had the opportunity to not only learn, more about what she's doing in her business, but what are some of the things that she is doing, what she has on her table for 2023, and then how I could support her in doing that. And so, one of the things, it's not always about the the direct effect of having a client, but how are you finding, or how are you giving yourself the opportunity to have those people or meet those people that you could get into collaborations with? So are you actually thinking about that? How do you expand your network, and how are you giving yourself the opportunity to identify people that will help you expand your network? Okay, so social networking is definitely the second step. And then also the third thing that I want to talk about is part of your social success cycle is how do you build your influence, okay? And so when we talk about influence, specifically talking about how are you showing up as the expert? So do people see you as an expert in the marketplace? Now, I'm going to share with you once again, saying that you have a product, saying that you have a program does not deem you, as the expert. Okay, so you want to be able, to share with your audience, why they should see you as an expert. And this is all part of developing your content. So are you able to share the experiences that you've had on your journey that would allow people to say, you know what, that's the person that I want to work with, because they really understand the struggles, the challenges that I have, and when I take a look at them, they are where I desire to be. And so that's part of developing your social influence. And then finally, we get into social selling. Okay. And so after you have implemented those first three steps, then you create the environment for the positioning of your products and services, because you have been consistent in showing up and listening and being a resource. You're actively out there connecting with your network. You're sharing with people why they should choose you or why they should see you as the expert. And so by time you are ready to launch your program or offer your products and services, you have created such a wonderful environment for people to say, that's my person. All right. And I see that people are joining. So great morning, Cynthia. Thank you so much for tuning in and joining us this morning. And then I see that we have a Facebook user out there. I'm not sure if yeah, I can't see your name. So if you can, just go ahead and drop me a comment and then let me know who you are so I could address you properly. So good morning. Oh, it's Jacqueline. I didn't even see your name there, Jacqueline. Great morning, sweetheart. How are you? And Jacqueline is saying she's serving families currently at a nonprofit organization as the director. So generally only showing up for promo. This is great content being shared. Appreciate the value add. And Virginia is tuning in from Ottawa. So yes, Jacqueline, here's the thing. And I love what you're sharing. So thank you for just being honest and straight up and let you know that, yeah, I only show up for the promos, but it's the learn. So even though you are currently serving for a nonprofit organization, what are some of the things that you're learning from your nonprofit or organization? What are some of the things that, as you take a look at the mission of the organization that you are, currently working with, even though you don't own the organization, you're still a part of it, right? And definitely, how can you share value with others out there on social media? And so, as entrepreneurs, okay, as influencers, that is the charge that we all have. So how do we show up as a resource? Okay. And Virginia is saying, I help people move with ease in their mind and their bodies. So thank you so much, Virginia, for showing up. Happy New Year to you, my dear. And Ryan is out there. Nice to see you again, Ryan. Same here. Okay. And so, yes, so those are the things when it comes to adding value. And I want to go ahead and talk about Virginia for just a quick second. So one of the things that I love about Virginia and what she does in her business that adds value, Virginia has made the commitment, to have a moment of movement every morning. So every morning, Virginia does a moment of movement. And one of the things I love about this is because she's really attuned, to her audience. So she knows as we get older, we age, as entrepreneurs, for me, I sit a lot at my desk, and Virginia saying, you know what, I'm going to help you move at least one time a day. So she has created that environment where people can join her in the mornings, and then they could get their movement in. And so that's what I'm talking about when it comes to showing up and providing value on social. And of course, Virginia does have her programs that she offers. She has paid ways for people to work with her, but once again, she is communicating her value, and then she is giving, her audience the opportunity to see why, she is the expert, because she is living the words that she shares and the things that she teaches. Okay. So saying going from stuck to unstuck, moments of movement. Definitely, Virginia. So thank you so much for joining me this morning. And I couldn't let the opportunity pass, to give you a shout out. So thank you. All right. And so the third thing that I want to talk about this morning is why the way you feel about your value influences how others interact with you. Now, this is going to be a big one. So let me ask you, how many of you, when it comes to showing up on social media, you feel excited? So if that's you, you get excited about showing up, just go ahead, drop in the comment section and let me know, yes, I get excited. Okay. How many of you might feel a little bit intimidated? So if you're feeling a little bit intimidated when it comes to showing up on social, if that's you, go ahead, let me know. Or if you're even a little bit unsure, go ahead and let me know, just, just where you stand with that. So here's one of the things that I want everyone to get. Yes, I know that, there could be a lot of unsurety, a whole lot of trepidation when it comes to showing up on social, putting content out there, putting yourself out there. But here's the thing, when we take a look at our brands, we want to be able to show up in such a way that would allow our audience to know that we are really truly, excited, and we're excited to be able to be able to serve. And so one of the things that I'll share a process that has definitely worked for me over the years. So one of the things, and I tell people all the time, even when it comes to doing the show, I do this every Saturday morning. I still get those butterflies in my stomach. So there's never a Saturday morning that I get up and I'm just like, I'm just going to turn on my camera and then it's going to be, okay. So I still get the butterflies, I still get the nervousness and all of that stuff. Okay. I still wake up at 6 a.m. in the morning for a 10 a.m. Facebook Live. Who does that? So that's me. But one of the things that anchors me is for me saying, you know what? It isn't about me. It's how am I positioning myself to serve today? So as I get up and I prepare for the show, one of the things I'm actually doing is envisioning super achievers on the show and how you guys are receiving me on the show and the conversations that I'm having and my opportunity to serve and bless others. So that's one of the ways that I anchor myself and I still myself to show up excited and ready to serve. Okay. And so if you have a process, if you're out there and you're doing videos, if you have a process, go ahead and share with me or share with others what that process looks like for you. But one of the things that I want to encourage everyone is to start to think about what are what is your uniqueness? What are some of the things that make you unique, that you could definitely bring to the table that would add value? So a lot of times people think that it's the showing up perfect. No, it's not about the showing up perfect, but it's that one thing, and it could be a quirky thing. I don't know what it is for you, okay? But what is it that you're really good at? And how well are you showcasing that thing that you are good at, or that thing that makes you different, or the thing that makes you unique from excuse me, from other people who are offering the same services in your space. And so, like I shared earlier, for me, that that thing was realizing that I was that person who was challenged with technology. And so I shared when I started in corporate America, I actually had, managers and supervisors who didn't think that I would go far in my position, not because I didn't understand the position, not because I didn't have the verbal skills or the customer service skills. I didn't have the technical skills. And I remember what it felt like to have that one person believe in me that I could do it. And I understood what it took for me to learn. And all it was practice. And so I was able to take a look at just that one quirky thing about me not understanding technology and what it took for me to get over being scared of technology. And that's the thing that I bring, to my services in my business, or one of the things that I bring to my business, right? That aspect of, you know being patient, or having patience in working, with clients as they learn something new, because it's always a learning curve when we are learning something new. So start to think about, what are you naturally good at, and how are you showcasing that thing that you are naturally good at. Okay. And then understanding, how can that be applied to your business? So are you applying it to your business? And if you're applying it to your business, how are you showcasing that in your content? Okay. And then the third thing is being confident in yourself and in your abilities. So don't let the fear of all the things that you don't know how to do stop you from being great, because once again, it's all about the learning curve. So there's a learning curve in everything. So one of the things, like I said, that I had to learn how to do is to quiet, those negative voices in my head. And I'm just talking about one specific instance, right? It's me going live. And I tell people all the time, I wasn't the person who got excited in the beginning about doing videos. Okay. I just wanted to understand how video marketing worked. And as I started, implementing all of the strategies, all of the things, using the tools, I realized that there was a totally different aspect to going live and doing videos that people weren't talking about. People weren't talking about the emotional aspect of it, what actually goes in or goes on in your head before you show up on video. And so as I got present to those things, and I started to, create ways for me to overcome those challenges, those were the things that I started to bring, to my business, to my services that I offer as well. And I just shared one of the biggest things that I do, and I still do it to this day, is to do a visualization exercise every time before I turn on my camera. So one of the things that I do is that I visualize my interaction with the audience, and I always visualize great conversations, right? I visualize how you guys are receiving me, and I visualize, being able, to serve. Okay. And so those are the things that I definitely want to impart on you. It shows up, in your value and how people take a look at you. So if you're showing up, intimidated, or if you're showing up unsure, then one of the things that people are going to start to do is that they're going to start to question, well, really, is this person, the person to work with me? Or should I be working with this person? Are they really sure? Do they know what they're talking about? But the more you feel confident in your abilities, the more that confidence shines through. Okay, and I'm going to take a pause here and go back to my questions here, my comments. I want to make sure that I don't miss anyone. Great morning, Karen. Karen is saying, this is good stuff. I definitely see value in connecting with the tribe, developing those relationships, and feeling a little intimidated. And so, yes, Karen, it's one of the things that I think that most people are challenged with, is feeling a little intimidated getting on social media because, once again, it's a very vulnerable space. So you're open. And I remember the times when I used to just envision like the negative things, right? Like, oh my gosh, am I going to have a troll on my video? Today, is someone going to show up and say something really bad that's going to knock me off of my space? And I had to learn how to, shift that. I had to learn to, think and envision, the positive conversations. And so even in those moments when I've had people show up, on social media that had not so nice things to say, I don't focus on them. I focus on the people who are positive and the ways that I could serve the people who really want, what I have to offer. So thank you so much for sharing that, Karen. I hope that that helps. So, um, Jacqueline is saying, I hope this is Jacqueline that's saying, I get excited now. I was very intimidated when I started. I learned to relax and show up with my brilliance and helping people move with ease. Oh, it's Virginia. So yes, and that's the thing. I think, Virginia, that a lot of times we start out feeling intimidated, and this is why I always encourage, our super achievers to just keep going, because it's a learning curve, right? And so as the more you continue to do it, the better you get at it, the more you continue to relax, and then you let your brilliance shine through, you let your uniqueness shine through. And one of the things that, I say all the time, it's those quirky things about us. So it's not the sitting in perfection. I know we all want to have, the perfect video. We all want to have the perfect content, and we could get so much into our headspace about that stuff, right? But it's those little things, those little imperfection that allows our audience to see that we are human. And so one of the things that I got present to a lot too is like when, I make those mistakes or I have those challenges and things aren't perfect. People are able to relate to that and they say it. It's like, oh my gosh, I saw this happen. That was so me. That happened to me. But I love the way that you handled it. And so it's like I said, it's not about being perfect, but it's just being able to let your brilliance shine through, and the way that your unique ways that you do what you do, those are the things that endear your audience to you. And once again, I'm not sure, my names aren't coming up. I definitely feel some nerves about trying to go live on a regular basis. So one of the things that I'm going to say, and I'm not sure who this is because it says Facebook user, so I'm not sure if it's Virginia again or someone different. So one of the things that I want to say about this, feeling the nerves when going live on a regular basis. One of the things that I've learned to do, and I'm going to tie this back into developing your content plan. One of the biggest things that will trip people up from doing live videos is not having a plan. So just turning on the camera, and I know that there's some people out there who are just wonderful at this. They will have an idea and they say, oh, I want to talk about this. And they will go turn on their camera and they will go ahead and do a live video. For Taria, not so much. So I am definitely the person who has to plan. And when I say planning, not just planning, my conversation, but planning to have the conversation. And I want everyone to get that. Are you planning to have the conversation? So are you setting aside a date and time that you in advance that you're going to go live. And so one of the things that I know definitely helped me calm my nerves in doing lives on a consistent basis is setting a date and time to go ahead and do the lives, right? So Saturday morning, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And so I know once that is on my calendar, I'm not scheduling anything else before that. So it gives me the opportunity to not just prepare for the conversation, like physically what I'm going to talk about, but it also gives me the opportunity to calm my nerves. It also gives me the opportunity to get into the headspace. So I am hoping that that helps, helps you in going live. Are you planning to have the conversation? When are you planning to have the conversation? Setting aside the time that not only do you need to get present in doing your content, but what is it that you need to feel and get prepared? Okay. Or do you feel like you're rushing, you're disorganized before you do the live, your nerves are all over the place? So a lot of times I tell people an hour before my live, there's no calls, no appointments. I do it Saturday morning. My family knows an hour before, all conversation ceases, because I need to be in the headspace to do that. So I'm hoping that that helps, and I'm hoping that that serves. And I say that someone says, thank you for admitting that, Taria. Yeah, so it's one of the things that I made a commitment to. I was going to be transparent on these shows because things weren't always easy, for me. And so as I learned and I moved through, my challenges, those are the things that I am committed to bringing to my audience. Okay. All right. So I am now going to move on to a how to. So we are talking about how to communicate your value proposition on social media. That's the topic for our conversation today. So I'm going to share with you 5 tips or 5 ways that you could add value through your social media presence. Okay. And if it is possible, I would like you super achievers, as I go through them, to just drop them into the comment section and give other super achievers the opportunity, who are coming through the content, catching it on the replay, to be able to see these. Okay. And I'm hoping once again, this will add value to you. So the first way that you can add value through your social media content is you want to make sure that you are sharing original content. So once again, as we take a look at ourselves and we position ourselves as influencers into the marketplace, what are some of the things that you have learned on your journey that you are willing to share with your audience? These are your unique experiences that you have. How are you bringing those experiences to life on social media? So sharing informative, original content. So what's going to be the thing that sets you apart from other people in the space that do what you do? And oftentimes, these are our experiences. So how did you get to where you are now? You want to be able to share that. And like I said, one of the best ways that you could do that is turning on your video camera and talk about it. Okay. Then the second thing that you also want to do is you want to be able to share content that inspires your audience. Okay. So, and this is really great. So, are you showing up as that person on social media that when your audience members take a look at you, they're inspired to continue onto their journey? They're inspired to keep moving. They're inspired to keep doing. How are you able to paint that picture, or are you living that picture of quote unquote success out loud for your audience? Okay. And so I'm going to go back and I'm going to pick on Virginia a little bit. And this is what I mean about this. So once again, I shouted Virginia out in the beginning, and Virginia does a wonderful job with her moments of movement in the morning. Okay. And that's one of the ways that Virginia serves in her business. But when I take a look at Virginia on social media, one of the things that I see that excites me about her, and it gives me the insight to her as a person. I always see these beautiful pictures of Virginia outside. And I'm not going to say that you're in the wilderness, because it's not really wilderness, right? But Virginia does a lot of hiking, right? And we get the opportunity to see a lot of the insight as to who she is as a person and the things that she loves. And so as she talks about movement in the body, one of the things that she shares is that this is the reason why you want to have movement in your body, and you want to have that ease in your body, is because once you have that ease in your body, you're able to do all of these beautiful things, like go climb mountains. You're able to go kayaking across the streams and the rivers. You're able to build campfires and camp outside and all of that cool stuff. So Virginia definitely does a wonderful job in putting out content that's motivational, and then also inspiring her audience to know that, life can be different and there's things to aspire to. Okay, so how are you putting out content out there that motivates your audience? And then also, when you take a look at your content that you're putting out there, the value that you're adding in the marketplace, make sure that you're solving the big problems. Okay, so what is the big problem that you serve for your audience, and how can you use your social media presence to do that? And I started off the show by saying one of the biggest challenges that people have, with their content, is that they think that they're sharing too much on social media. And if they share a lot on social media, people won't want to engage with them in a paid way. But our charges always make sure that, number one, you've identified your audience, the challenge or the problem that they have, and you are always positioning in the marketplace to solve that problem. Okay. And so another way that you could do that is you could show up and you could just do live videos like this. You could host a Q&A. You could go live. You could share tips, tricks, all of that stuff, right? All of those things play a part in adding value to your social media presence, or communicating value on social media. Okay. So I hope that helps. Those are my 5 ways that you can add value through your social media presence. So make sure that you're sharing informative content. Make sure that you're motivational and you're inspiring. You're solving the big problem or problems for your audience. And then you're giving yourself the opportunity to do some social listening, and you're answering those burning questions. And then you're also showing up as a resource. So meaning you're sharing, your tips, your ideas, the things that you have done that allowed you to move from your place of pain to your journey of transformation. All right. And so let me go ahead and make sure that I am checking all of the comments. Oh, and Ryan is saying it's Ryan who's nervous. And so, yes, Ryan, you always say that you're nervous all the time. But one of the things that I love is when you do turn on your camera, none of that nervousness shines through in your videos. Why? Because you have the ability, to talk from your heart, and you are very transparent and authentic about the challenges, that you have, the things that you're overcoming, in your life. And I think that you add such value to your audience. And I know definitely I'm blessed every time, I have the opportunity to watch your videos, because, you bring the real to it. Okay. And so I definitely get the opportunity, to see how you serve, through your content. So thank you. And Karen, thank you so much for sharing the notes out there. And Virginia is saying that she's here, she's listening closely. And yes, it is Canada. And you guys, absolutely have the best outdoor. So I say that all the time, like the air in Canada is totally different. All right. Okay. And Ryan Davey says, you can still do it. People are waiting for your brilliance to inspire them to move. Awesome, awesome, awesome. And so, super achievers, I can't believe we are at the top of another another show. The time just flies by so quickly when I get on here and I do the Influencers Journey show. And so before I close out, I want to go ahead and leave everyone with the thought of the week. And the thought of the week is doubt kills more dreams than failure ever will. And that's by Susie Chasm. Doubt kills more dreams than failure ever will. And one of the things that I take away, from this quote, and it's one of my favorite quotes, is a lot of times when we find ourselves sitting in doubt, we actually keep ourselves stuck. We don't actually move because we're in that headspace. And because we're in doubt, we never really take the action, right? But when we take the action, even if it's an imperfect action, and I've learned to retrain my brain and say there's no such thing as failure, there's always opportunities to learn. Okay. So as you give yourselves more opportunities to learn, then you move yourself closer towards your dream. So that's the thought of the week today. So don't let doubt and fear stop you from moving forward towards success. All right. And so, super achievers, thank you once again for tuning in to another episode of the Influencers Journey Show. Remember, know that you are brilliant, know that you are special, and the world is waiting for your unique gift. Thank you and see you next time. Bye bye.